Brandon Coulter. I'm out here with Fishhound.com. I'm a Bassmaster Elite Series rookie this year. And we're going to be doing a bunch of videos for Fishhound.com. We're going to be doing some comprehensive videos, which is what we're talking about today. You talk about different conditions that you may find on the water and kind of give you an idea of what you might do to overcome them conditions and catch you a bass or two. You know what, we moved about 2 miles down the lake and we still have 6 inches of visibility and we still hadn't had a bite. You know, I think we're going to have to just keep on going down. We're going to keep going down to the low end. You know, typically low end of these reservoirs, Tennessee rivers, the water gets clear. Without a bite, cold, muddy water, it's not what we're looking for. The water's come up. We just need to keep going down and try to find some clear water. All right, we just made a move and we've moved down the lake a little bit here. We finally found some watercolor that suits what we're trying to do today. We came out this morning and the water temperatures was in the low 40s. That's a little bit misleading. You know, low to mid 40s or mid to upper 40s. What you have to remember is in the last week or so, it was probably in the 30s, you know, mid 30s to upper 30s. So this water is just barely starting to move up in the temperature. And it's also raising a little bit. You know, we've had a lot of influx of cold rain. When the fish first come out of the winter pattern, what I like to do is I like to find a structure. You can see here we're on kind of a bluffy bank. The fish tend they don't want to move sideways. They don't want to move, they don't want to have to swim to get after the prey. They want to kind of move up and down. They want to use their swim bladder to move up and down the water column to feed. It takes a whole lot less energy to do that. So I look primarily for vertical structure, and I'm also fishing with stuff that's a whole lot smaller than normal. You know, this is a Yozori hardcore. It's very similar to a Rapala Shad Rap. This is probably close to a number 6 Shad Rap that they just came out with last year. But traditionally, you know, we'll throw a number 5 Shad Rap or Yozori hardcore this time of year. You know, it's a smaller bait, smaller profile. The fish really like it. And what we're looking for is when we started out this morning, we were up the river, the lake a pretty good ways, and it was just way too muddy. You know, all that cold, muddy water had come in, and we weren't getting any bites. It was just kind of fruitless. You know, we couldn't fish this time of year. They don't want to search for vibration. They don't want to look for sounds. You know, they're very sight oriented. You know, they're not eating a lot, and so what they want is those dying minnows and all that kind of stuff that's left over from the winters. That's a perfect example of what you're fishing for this time of year. Is those bass are sitting on these vertical structure and they're coming up and they're seeing those shad. You know, that's what you want to look for. Sometimes you get to follow the birds and you'll find the shad. Other times, you know, you just be going down the bank and there'll be a shad kill and you're running into some fish. So that's what we're going to target. So we're going to throw small baits, a lot of vertical structure. You know, we're set up on a river system, so it's a little different. You know, if you're in a big lake, you might find some, you know, some big flats out in 30 foot of water with a lot of shad or bluebacks or something like that. Tennessee River, you just don't have that. So as a general rule, I'm going to come out and I'm going to cover water and I'm going to throw a crankbait for the most part. You know, when you're fishing these, you know, vertical banks, you know, whether you're on the Tennessee River or anywhere really, you want to kind of position the boat in tight to the cover, tight to the bluff. There's, you know, when a bluff rolls out in the 40, 50, 60 foot of water, you have a lot of dead water. So if you're 45 or even throw a 90 to the bank, you know, you're wasting a ton of your cast. There's one. There's a little Tennessee largemouth. This time of year, with the water temperatures in the 40s, they don't put up a lot of fight, but they're still fun to catch. He's not the biggest bass in the world, but on a winter day when you finally get some sunshine, the water goes from 30 to 40s, you can still find 1 or 2 swimming around. And again, they're always good and fat this time of year. A lot of fun. There you go. The setup I use to do this, I've got a 7-foot medium action Omen black rod, and I've got on my spinning reel, I've got a Revo spinning reel. And what I've got is I've got my braid on here. And the best part about that is I can leave braid on my reel all year long and just change different leaders throughout the year. Now, there are times that I will not throw braid, that I'll just spool up completely, but for the average guy, you know, out there, you can put on 10 to 15 pound braid and leave it on your spinning reel all year long. I happen to have an 8 pound fluorocarbon leader on today. I use fluorocarbon more than I do anything else, even cranking. But you can switch that out. You can go to a mono leader if you want to throw some top water on it. You can go, you know, straight braid if you need to have, you know, something that you can kind of move the fish a little bit further. You know, what you got to remember about, you know, really fishing any time of the year, it's not all about just one condition. You know, we found muddy water, well, but it was muddy in cold water. You know, there's certain times maybe muddy water would have been fine and we would have just went and caught them and flipped and, you know, thrown a big square bill or something. But you know, we found muddy water, but we also found really cold water. We found water that hasn't been, you know, warm for very long, you know, 2 or 3 days at the most. And then we also found rising water. So once you factor in all those things, you know, that's how you need to make a decision, you know, not just on one factor. So, you know, what we did is we started looking for clearer water. We started trying to get to where we could actually, you know, target the fish with the conditions that we have. All right, guys, that wraps up a little wintertime fishing on the Tennessee River. Make sure you tune in to Fishhound.com. We're going to be doing all kinds of videos on the Bassmaster Elite Series this year, bait testing, and comprehensive videos on how to catch more bass.